It's the Spark Ideas by the Nerd Girls at UKLUG 2012. Bill Buchan stands up and teaches us all about dieting.
Right, so I'll take my glasses off so I can't see you. Right, okay. My name is Bill Buchan, and I'm going to talk to you about dieting. I'll let you into a little secret. I may or may not be overweight.
You're just under height.
My doctor keeps referring to something called a body mass index, a BMI chart. And he keeps pointing to the space on the wall to the right of his chart where I exist and says, you are literally off the chart. You are morbidly obese. He wasn't just being kind. That's a medical definition for somebody whose BMI is over 40. Morbid is Latin for you fat fucker, you're going to die. I paraphrase. Now, I was asked, fairly short notice, to talk about something that would inspire you. And I thought, well, there's nothing a lot inspiring about my life. I'm a dominant consultant, I do Lotus Notes and Lotus Script, and I travel to Docklands in London, which is a shithole. Or as the Americans would say, Detroit. I hope there's nobody from Detroit here. So there's not a lot inspiring about my life, apart from my continual battle with my bulges. For instance, yesterday I forgot to pack shirts. So I went along to Marks and Spencer's and I went to the what's the fattest shirt you've got aisle. Okay. And I looked around and I found the biggest shirts they had, and I still can't button them. If I button them, I die. This morning I tried to put on the second shirt I bought. The more observant of you will observe that I wore this shirt last night, and I pulled it over my body to find I couldn't breathe because I stupidly bought the slim version. And this is why you should always wear glasses when you're shopping for clothes. So obviously being fat, I'm not very happy about being fat, but I do carry it off rather well, I think you'd agree. Now, let's talk about why people get fat. Well, we overeat, right? Now, there's a whole bunch of science in this, but basically, look at the size of your mouth and look at the size. Well, you get the idea. The mouth is like, yeah, you're there. John is there. So the trick is to eat less. Now, it's difficult to eat less because anyone who has got a BMI over 30 or 35 or thin people, no, that's not thin at all. BMIs, if you're under 15, you're a size 0 skeleton. Okay, very unhealthy. If your BMI is between 15 and 25, that's considered to be reasonably acceptable. And if you're over 25, you're obese. And over 40, you're morbidly obese. And over 50, you're dead. Okay, so that's kind of how the BMI works. So, let's imagine you suspect, you might think you're overweight. Well, how does that happen? It doesn't happen overnight. Really, it doesn't. Okay? What I did is I had a very physical job to school university where I was building lorries. I weighed 11 stone, I had abs. This is the man my wife wanted to marry. I went to university, I did 0 exercise and found beer. Industrial quantities of beer. And I drank a lot, and then I came home a few months later and I was huge. And to a certain extent it remained that size ever since. Why? It's because I eat too much food or have too much sugar. Okay, that's the bottom line. Okay, I stick too much in there. It doesn't fall out there fast enough. It sticks. There we are. Yeah. Yeah. That mental image will haunt you for the rest of your lives, but might just work. So, how do we get fat? Well, the problem is that our bodies are designed to eat rotten meat in the middle of swamps. Is Julian Robichaud here? He would just utterly freak out. So, we've now developed things called bread. Bread is a fantastic food, and in olden times, people might have that much bread to exist on for a day. And we're routinely having these enormous sandwiches, and of course that's thousands of calories. What happens is the blood sugar in our system goes up, our body goes, oh my god, look at all this food, what are we going to do with it? I don't store it away for later. Because we're designed to eat rotten meat in swamps and eat intermittently. We're not used to having food available to us 24/7 out of vending machines. You know, chocolate for instance, really bad. Your sugar goes up, you have a sugar spike, then you fall asleep at your desk. It's very embarrassing. Yeah, especially after like 6 beers at lunchtime, that's a really bad thing to do. And that's why you should never join a bank. Okay? So we've got this idea of carbohydrates, bread especially, chocolate, and we've got protein, dead pieces of animal. If you're a vegetarian, you are screwed. I'm kidding. Of course you're not. So we've got carbs, we've got protein, and basically what you should do is try and reduce the amount of carbs you've got so you don't have your blood sugar level going up all the time, because then you develop type 2 diabetes and it gets very unpleasant at that stage. What you should try and do is moderate your food input and eat the right things. And the right things don't include anything excreted out of the golden arches, okay, McDonald's, anything that comes in a polystyrene container. You'd be better off eating the polystyrene container. Really, it's better for you. Okay? Chips, beer. Beer is liquid bread. If you have 8 pints of beer at night, you end up looking like me the next day. Okay? Guaranteed. So, well, hang on a second. These are all the things I love. Well, you're going to make a choice. Do you like all that food and not seeing your feet, or do you like life? And at some stage, you're going to kind of grow up and decide, well, hang on a second, I'm going to try and lose some weight. And the problem is, my body shape and my genealogy, Scottish fisherman, little short fat sod, yeah, means that it's very difficult for me to lose weight. And because I'm now so obese, my blood pressure is skyrocketed, I'm on blood pressure medication, that also makes it very difficult to lose weight. So I've got to go in for extreme dieting. Now, if I was Matt Newman, he's an ectomorph, he burns off massive amounts of energy, it's almost impossible for him to get fat. Because literally the food has got it doesn't stick in his system long enough, he's just moving around too much, okay? I'm an endomorph, that is, I'm naturally recumbent, and therefore, food sticks to me far harder. So if I was Matt Newman, I could eat anything, I can't, I'm going to lose weight. How do I do that? Well, there's various diet types. You've heard of the Zone, you've heard of Atkins, you've heard of carb-free. They all do the same thing, and they all cut out sugars, carbs, breads, beer, anything that tastes nice, okay? You end up with meat or bacon. Bacon, the chocolate of the meat world.
Not a minute though.
Now what that does is when you eat lots of meat, it pulls down your sugar level. All of a sudden, when your sugar level achieves normality, all of a sudden your insulin system isn't running an overdrive all the time as it has been for me for the last 25 years, and you can actually start physically losing weight. Now it's very difficult to stay in the Atkins diet because what happens is you die. Okay, if you eat a protein-only diet all the time, your arteries harden, and as Dr. Atkins himself did, you pull a stroke and die. Okay, so it's not advisable to do that for long term. There's various packaged diets you can go, shakes,